Have you ever looked at broken glass or old clay jugs and thought they were nothing but trash? What if I told you they could become breathtaking garden borders, hanging flower pots, and even patio designs that cost almost nothing? Today, I'll show you how to turn the ordinary into something unforgettable. Welcome to Simply DIY, a place where small ideas grow into big inspirations. This video will guide you through unbelievable DIY upcycling projects, using trash glass and clay jugs to transform tiny gardens, backyards, and patios. Remember, these images are just sparks of inspiration. If you love them, take the idea, make it your own, and create with what you have today. And before we dive in, let me share something from the heart. Maybe to you, I'm just another voice on a screen. But behind this, there's a real story and a real family. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it means more than you know. When you support this channel, you're helping a dream survive and giving hope one click at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing me. Have you ever looked at an ordinary glass cup and imagined it becoming something magical for your garden? Picture this: clear glass cups, once forgotten in the corner of a kitchen, now gently swaying in the breeze as they cradle fresh blossoms. On a tiny patio wall, the cups catch the morning light, and inside, vibrant petunias in pink and purple stretch open as if smiling to the sun. It's a simple transformation, yet it turns even the smallest patio into a garden of poetry. What makes this idea special is how little you need. With nothing more than twine rope or a metal hook, you can suspend these glasses at eye level, filling them with herbs like basil or parsley, or bright daisies that shimmer with dewdrops. When the wind brushes past, the cups glisten, and the greenery feels alive, almost whispering stories of renewal. The beauty lies in its accessibility. Anyone can do this. Whether you live in a city apartment with only a balcony, or a countryside home with a tiny yard, these recycled glass pots will breathe life into small corners. They invite butterflies, they scent the air, and above all, they remind us that even the simplest trash can be reborn into something inspiring. So the next time you hold a glass in your hand, don't just think of water or tea. Think of flowers blooming, think of herbs thriving, think of your own hands shaping beauty out of what others might throw away. That's the quiet magic of DIY upcycling. There is something timeless about clay. For centuries, these humble jugs have carried water, stored grains, and filled our homes with quiet usefulness. Yet, when their original purpose fades, they do not have to be forgotten. Imagine walking into your backyard and finding those same jugs turned upside down, resting firmly in the soil, forming a border that feels both rustic and graceful. Each jug, with its earthy tones and patches of moss, becomes more than decoration, it becomes a storyteller. Together, they mark the edge of a flower bed where marigolds glow golden, or they embrace a circle of vegetables thriving in the sun. The rough texture of terracotta contrasts beautifully with the softness of green leaves and delicate petals. Suddenly, your garden path looks not only organized but also infused with character. The charm of this idea lies in its simplicity. You don't need expensive materials or complicated tools. By half-burying the jugs upside down, you create stability, while also allowing the shapes to form a rhythmic pattern along the garden edge. And if you let the clay weather naturally, small cracks and moss will only add to its beauty, making the border look as though it has always belonged there. This is the kind of DIY project that invites calm. As you place each jug, you're not just building a border, you're shaping a frame for memories, for afternoons spent among flowers, for evenings when the garden glows under the setting sun. With every jug in its place, your backyard turns into a canvas painted with warmth, simplicity, and soul. As the evening sky turns soft and dusky, imagine your garden fence gently glowing with light. Not from expensive fixtures or store-bought designs, but from the humble glass jars you once used for jam or juice. Hung with care along the fence, each jar becomes a lantern, each flame or tiny string of fairy lights a star brought down to earth. There is a beauty in how simple this transformation can be. A metal hook, a sturdy rope, and a few jars are all you need. Some may choose to fill them with tea-light candles that flicker warmly in the breeze. Others might prefer the safety of LED fairy lights, casting a magical sparkle that dances against the garden leaves. The choice is yours, and the result is always enchanting. Placed near lavender or daisies, these lanterns do more than just brighten. They create mood, atmosphere, and a sense of calm. Suddenly, your backyard feels like a retreat, a place where time slows down and conversations feel deeper. Even the smallest garden corner becomes a haven when touched by this gentle glow. And the best part? It costs almost nothing. Old jars find a second life, fences become canvases for light, and your hands shape an experience that feels both personal and timeless. When night falls, these lanterns remind us that beauty often hides in the simplest things we dare to see differently. Sometimes the smallest spaces carry the greatest potential. In a tiny yard where every inch matters, even an old clay jug can become the beginning of something extraordinary. Imagine pressing the jug gently into the soil, filling it with earth, and anchoring a slender stick inside. Soon, a climbing vine will discover it, curling upward with patience, wrapping each tendril around the pole like a quiet dance toward the sky. Morning glories in shades of violet, beans that grow heavy with pods, or cucumbers with bright yellow blossoms, all can rise gracefully from this simple creation. The clay jug does more than just hold the base. It lends warmth, texture, and a rustic character to the garden. Its earthy tone blends seamlessly with the greenery, making the whole corner feel alive and intentional. This kind of DIY invites a slower rhythm. There is no rush, only the daily joy of watching leaves unfurl, blossoms appear, and fruits swell under the sun. It teaches us patience, and it shows us how even the smallest backyard can transform into a place of abundance when guided by a thoughtful hand. The beauty of this trellis lies not only in what grows upon it, but also in the story it tells. How something simple, perhaps overlooked, finds a new life supporting growth and beauty. And when you walk into your yard and see vines stretching higher each day, you'll be reminded that creativity and nature often meet in the most humble of ways. There is something mesmerizing about light when it touches glass. Even the smallest fragment can catch the sun and scatter it into colors that feel almost magical. Imagine turning what was once broken and forgotten into a border that frames your patio with shimmering beauty. Along the path, tiny pieces of glass, polished and safe to touch, glisten like jewels as they rest among flowers and herbs. This idea costs almost nothing, yet it brings extraordinary charm. Old bottles, cracked jars, or leftover glass tiles can be transformed into mosaics, pressed gently into soil or cement along the garden's edge. By arranging them in patterns, whether random or carefully chosen, you create not just a border, but a piece of living art that changes with the light of day. Morning sun makes it sparkle gently, while evening shadows allow the colors to deepen, glowing like hidden treasures. The beauty of this DIY lies not only in its appearance but in the way it feels. It reminds us that broken things still hold value, and that what seems like waste can become the highlight of a small patio. For those with tiny yards, this edging adds depth and texture, making the space feel alive with creativity. Each step you take on the patio becomes a little brighter. Every glance toward the border feels like a discovery. And as the seasons change, the glass will continue to tell its quiet story of resilience, renewal, and the art of finding beauty in the unexpected. There is a quiet joy in giving a garden a touch of imagination. Picture a flower bed where delicate rabbits, tiny birds, or butterflies made of oil paper rise gently above the blossoms. When the sun shines, their colors glow softly, and as the breeze passes, they sway as though alive. It is a scene that feels playful, yet calming, a reminder that even the smallest details can transform a space into something enchanting. The beauty of using oil paper lies in its translucence. Unlike ordinary paper, it catches the light, making each figure shimmer like stained glass. With just a few simple tools, scissors, sticks, and a little creativity, you can shape figures that delight both children and adults. Rabbits peeking through daisies, butterflies hovering near lavender, or tiny frogs beside marigolds all add a story to your garden border. This kind of DIY is not about perfection. It is about the feeling it creates: cheerful, whimsical, and welcoming. And because the figures are light and inexpensive, you can change them with the seasons. Bright butterflies in spring, dragonflies in summer, or birds in autumn, each design brings a new layer of wonder. As you walk past, these figures invite you to pause, to smile, and to see your garden not only as plants and soil, but as a stage where imagination and nature play together. In a world that often feels hurried, these small creatures remind us to slow down and enjoy beauty in its gentlest form. In small spaces, creativity becomes the gardener's greatest tool. Imagine walking onto a tiny patio or balcony and seeing clear glass cups, once forgotten in the kitchen, now suspended by ropes and filled with life. From them, cherry tomatoes blush red under the sun, lettuce leaves unfold like soft fans, and chilies sparkle in shades of green and crimson. It is a vertical garden, humble yet abundant, turning empty air into nourishment. The magic of this idea lies in its practicality. Glass cups are easy to find, and their transparency allows you to see the soil's moisture, reminding you when it is time to water. Hung at different heights, they create layers of greenery, transforming a flat wall into a living canvas. With only a handful of plants, the effect is lush, and the harvest is surprisingly generous. There is also a gentle poetry in tending vegetables this way. Each morning, as light streams across the jars, droplets cling to the glass, roots press against the sides, and the plants reach upward, grateful for the space you've given them. Even in the smallest corners, you discover that growth is possible, and that food can be both beautiful and practical. This is not just about saving space, it's about reimagining what is possible. With a few ropes, some soil, and the will to try, a small balcony becomes a garden of plenty, and a simple glass becomes a vessel of life. There is a calmness that only the sound of water can bring. Imagine stepping into your small garden and hearing a gentle stream flowing from the mouth of a clay jug, tumbling gracefully into a basin below. The sunlight catches the ripples, making the water sparkle, while lavender, marigolds, or even moss frame the edges like nature's own decoration. This idea is as practical as it is beautiful. Old terracotta jugs, perhaps cracked or no longer useful in the kitchen, can be given a second life as part of a fountain. By arranging them at angles, you can create a cascade where water moves from one jug to another, endlessly renewing itself. A simple pump hidden beneath a stone or basin keeps the cycle flowing, turning a quiet corner into a place of serenity. You don't need a large yard to enjoy this kind of feature. Even the tiniest patio can hold a jug that pours into a shallow bowl filled with lotus flowers or floating candles. And if you wish, add koi fish or a few ferns nearby, and suddenly your space feels like a secret retreat far from the noise of the world. This project reminds us that beauty doesn't always require grandeur. Sometimes, it is found in the sound of dripping water, in the sight of light shimmering across a jug's surface, in the stillness it brings to your heart. A clay jug, once forgotten, can become the soul of your small garden. There's a certain wonder in seeing light travel through colored glass. Imagine a simple patio fence, no longer plain wood or metal, but transformed into a glowing mosaic made from old bottle tops. In the morning, the sun passes through shades of green, blue, and amber, scattering little bursts of color across the patio floor. By evening, the fence glows softly, like a lantern guiding you to a calm and quiet corner. What makes this project special is its simplicity. Glass bottle tops, which often end up as waste, can be polished and set into wood or metal frames. When arranged in geometric shapes or playful patterns, they resemble stained glass, yet at a fraction of the cost. It's not only budget-friendly, it's also a statement that beauty can be created from what others might throw away. For small patios or tiny gardens, this idea adds both privacy and personality. The fence becomes more than a boundary. It becomes a piece of art that changes throughout the day. The colors shift with the sun, offering new moods with each hour. Bright and lively at noon, gentle and warm as the sun sets. The process invites creativity too. You decide the colors, the shapes, the story you want your fence to tell. And in the end, you'll have something uniquely yours. A fence that doesn't just protect, but also inspires, shining with the quiet brilliance of upcycling done with heart. In a small garden where space feels precious, every inch becomes an opportunity. Picture a stack of clay jugs, leaning gracefully against each other, their mouths filled with soil and life. From one jug, strawberries spill in shades of red. From another, mint leaves spread their fragrance, while higher still, bright flowers cascade like a living waterfall. This simple arrangement is more than decoration. It is a clever way to create abundance in a narrow space. By stacking the jugs, you invite plants to climb, spill, and flourish vertically, turning a corner of your patio or yard into a tower of greenery. Clay, with its earthy tones and rustic charm, blends seamlessly with leaves and petals, giving the whole display a feeling of natural harmony. What makes this idea inspiring is how practical it is. Clay jugs retain coolness and moisture, keeping roots healthy, and their openings make planting easy and flexible. Whether you choose herbs for cooking, fruits for snacking, or flowers for beauty, each jug becomes a little world of growth. And as the plants thrive, they weave together, creating a vertical garden that feels alive with texture, color, and scent. It shows us that even in tiny spaces, we can dream big. With just a few jugs and a little imagination, an ordinary garden transforms into a vertical story of life and renewal, one that grows higher with every season. every home, there are jars and bottles that once held sauces, jams, or drinks, quietly set aside, waiting for another purpose. Now imagine them reborn, lined neatly on a wooden table or hanging by a patio wall, each holding soil rich with life. From their glass walls, you see roots stretch downward while basil, parsley, and rosemary reach upward, filling the air with fragrance. This idea is as beautiful as it is practical. Glass containers allow you to monitor the moisture and health of the soil, making it easier to care for delicate herbs. Their transparency becomes part of the design, showing not only leaves but the hidden world beneath. And when arranged together, whether on a backyard table, in rows along a garden bed, or suspended as a green wall, they transform ordinary corners into vibrant displays of freshness. What makes this project inviting is its adaptability. A few jars can create a modest kitchen garden, while many together can build a lush collection of flavors. Imagine plucking mint for your tea on a summer afternoon, or rosemary for dinner as the sun sets. The jars, once overlooked, now offer a daily connection between garden and kitchen, between earth and plate. It's a gentle reminder that sustainability and beauty can walk hand in hand. By upcycling, you reduce waste, and by planting, you create nourishment. In this balance, your backyard becomes more than a space. It becomes a sanctuary of taste, scent, and quiet joy. There is a gentle magic in seeing butterflies dance above a garden. With a little imagination, even simple oil paper can bring this enchantment to life. Picture a garden border where delicate butterflies, crafted by hand, rest lightly on thin wires. The sunlight passes through their wings, turning colors into soft glows of orange, blue, and yellow, as if a real swarm has come to bless the flowers below. The process is surprisingly simple. By cutting and shaping oil paper, attaching it to slender garden wires, and placing them among your plants, you create the illusion of flight. When the breeze arrives, the butterflies sway and shimmer, making your edging feel alive with movement. Roses, lavender, or marigolds beneath them become the stage for this graceful display. What makes this idea so inspiring is its adaptability. You can change the colors with the seasons, or add dragonflies and bees for variety. Each figure tells a small story, and together they weave a sense of wonder into even the tiniest yard. Children will stop to watch, and adults will pause to smile. It is the kind of detail that softens a busy day. In truth, these paper butterflies are more than decoration. They remind us that beauty often lies in illusion, in creativity, and in the willingness to see joy in the smallest gestures. A garden edged with these handmade wings becomes not only a place of growth, but also a place of quiet delight. When the day begins to fade and the air grows gentle, light takes on a softer form. Imagine sitting in a patio corner where clay jugs, once used for water or storage, now glow quietly with candles inside. The flames flicker through their openings, painting the walls with shifting patterns, as though the night itself is breathing. This is a transformation born of simplicity. A clay jug, with its earthy tones and timeless presence, becomes a lantern the moment you place a candle within it. The terracotta absorbs warmth, the flame glows steadily, and suddenly the space feels intimate and inviting. It is a reminder that beauty does not demand extravagance. Sometimes, it is simply found in firelight and clay. In practical terms, this idea is easy to create. Tea light candles or small LED lights slip neatly inside, and the jugs can be arranged in clusters at the patio's edge. They illuminate not only the floor but also the plants nearby, highlighting their leaves in warm shades of gold. Place a few around a bench, and you have a corner perfect for quiet reflection or a gentle evening conversation. The charm of these candle holders lies in their mood. They slow the rhythm of a busy day, drawing you to pause, to breathe, and to feel grounded. And as the flames sway inside those humble jugs, you realize that the smallest touches can turn an ordinary backyard into a sanctuary of peace. In the smallest of yards, creativity can bloom brighter than any flower. Imagine walking along a garden edge where glass, clay, and paper meet in harmony. A sparkle from polished bottle tops catches the sunlight, while rustic clay jugs anchor the soil with quiet strength. Above them, paper butterflies drift gently on thin wires, swaying as though they have just landed among the blossoms. It is a border not built by money, but by imagination. The beauty of this mix lies in its variety. Glass adds brilliance, reflecting the colors of the day. Clay offers texture and warmth, reminding us of the earth itself. Paper brings lightness, play, and movement. Together, they create a living artwork that frames marigolds, lavender, or herbs with charm and character. This kind of design invites freedom. There are no strict rules, only possibilities. You can rearrange pieces with the seasons, replace flowers with vegetables, or let moss creep naturally over the clay. Each choice makes the garden uniquely yours, a reflection of your spirit woven into the landscape. More than decoration, this border teaches us something profound. Beauty does not demand perfection or wealth. With a few discarded objects, reshaped by care and creativity, even a tiny yard becomes a place of wonder. It becomes a space where nature and handmade art walk side by side, turning every glance into a gentle reminder of what is possible when we dare to imagine.